Welcome back, guys. This is Thanks for Your Money, and we're going to play hands with PLO Vision where we have a flush draw on the flop. Well, I guess this is a easy raise, and just if he checks, we have to bet, and we're betting like 90% of the time, so we're have a small checking back range, just in a once in a blue moon. Alright. Okay. 3, 7, 10. This is a board which is not particularly favorable for our range. However, we have the nut flush draw and a pair of 8s, so we're checking back. So we can have kind of middle pair and a flush draw, so thought that we could check, that we could bet this sometimes because we have the 8, so we are blocking a bit the continuation range of our opponent. If we had something like ace queen 8 4, we're checking back as well. Yeah, okay, so deuce 3 5. I think this is a check back. We have showdown value and a flush draw. So this is normally, but not the nut flush draw and not the highest pair. So we are checking back this very often. If we had the aces and the nut flush draw, we are betting quite often. Okay, so we are not 3-betting here because we have 3 aces. Yeah, we wouldn't be here with double suited aces or anything like that. But with aces 5-3, yeah, we're betting this. And with the ace of hearts, we are betting sometimes, especially when blocking the straight. Here we do not have showdown value at the moment, but we have a strong flush draws. I think I would bet here. Also, fours are not touching our opponent's range nearly as often as something like 8-8 deuce, for example. This same hand on 8-8 deuce, it may be played as a check call. I'm not sure, but I'm just guessing that one. Okay. Ace Jack 3. We are. That's. I think that I would just call here. Why are we calling? Well, when he bets into us, that's he could have aces, certainly more than we do. But we are either way behind if he has aces, although we still have the nut flush draw, or we are well ahead if he has, like, I don't know, king, queen, and king, queen, jack 10 with 2 hearts, something like that. Yeah, and overall, this is not a flop that we are going to raise very often. So that's another reason why we cannot just raise our strong hands here, because we would be very unbalanced when we call, even if we are in position here. So since we are raising only 5% of our hands with our particular combo, we are only raising 40% of our range with that particular hand. And also since is king, yeah. So yeah, calling most of the time, but you can raise sometimes. Okay, 5-5-3. And what do we do here? Well, I would check here, and I would probably check call. We do not want to turn bananas against aces and do not flush. Or if he has a random 5 for any reason. Here we have a good make hand, although not super strong, and a good draw. So this is normally played as a check back. In fact, this is check back like 100% of the time. Here we have the main hand and the okay draw, so this has to be a call for sure. Queen 9-9. Well, that's an easy one. Well, we have a 6 and we have 3 hearts, so we are blocking the continuation range of our opponent. But our hand doesn't really play all that well, check calling. Also, we have three hearts, so we are not going to make our flush all that often, so I would just bet here. And apparently 100% bet with this particular combo. 7-3-3. Fold or call. Okay. No, yeah, we're calling very often and raising once in a blue moon, but no reason to turn bananas here. And if our opponent bet, I think we can actually fold. We're calling here, really. Okay. Well, we're starting to fold some. And tricky spot on the river, for sure. The thing is that just bluffing, checking. Well, this is a check, or maybe, yeah, I would rather check. Probably fold the river. We're starting to fold sometimes with this particular combo. And it's probably a fold on the river. Not sure how he would play, how he's forming his range there. Okay, 3-4-7. We have an okay mate hand and an okay draw. Well, we are out of position. Have to check back. We are checking back so often here. You could think that we are smashing this flop, but in reality the button also has a lot of 5-6 on his range. This is probably more of a lead against an early position raise. Okay, 8-3-3. And what do we have here? Well, this is an easy call. And well, and this has to go check, right? I mean, I don't see any reason why we should bet here. Yeah, like we're betting 9% of the time, so very rarely we're betting there. 8-9-9. Just calling. We have to proceed with a lot of caution on that particular board. 8-9-9. I would just check back this. No reason to bet. For some reason we are betting Queen Jack 5, but checking Queen Jack 5. Yeah, okay, it makes sense because we want our opponent to make a Jack high flush. But if we are holding the Jack of hearts, he cannot make a Jack high flush. So yeah, that's maybe that's a reason. Ace 8-7 on an ace high board. If this was against an early position raise, this has to be a check for sure. And here we have a little bit of something, but we are still checking. And in fact we are checking 97% of our range. So apparently on ace high boards we are checking almost always. And if he bets, I don't see any reason to raise here. I mean, do we want to start bluffing? No, I don't think so. We do not have a 9 or a 10. So if he bets, we are in a tough spot because you have to pair and a weak flush draw. We're calling here. You have to be good 30% of the time. Yeah, flush draw comes 20% of the time. If we make an ace or a 4, we're good very often. And there is a chance that he's bluffing, although... yeah, it's 6 deuce. Yeah, I think 6. Just calling. I think we do not have gut shot here. Yeah, I don't think that's enough to raise. 5-7-10. No, nothing to think about there. 3-5-6 with 2 okay made heads. So still you can bet some percentage of the time. Queen 10-8. Now we have a very strong hand here. Have to bet. If he raises, I would just go all in here. Our hand is just so strong. Even if he has a flush draw with hearts or something, I think we're probably fine. Yeah, fortunately, bet. Okay, sorry. We were. I thought that we were against the button. Yeah, too weak to check call. And we have something going on. Yeah, our hand is strong enough to bet. And very often. Now, let's say he calls. I would. We're betting, really. Well, it's kind of a mix. No, with our hand it's 100% bet. Because we have the 8 of spades, so he cannot have a spade draw here, apparently. So we are blocking a bit his continuation range. Without the 8 of spades, we would just check. Okay, this has to be a check. This is just... yeah, we are out of position. Continue. If he bets, I think we have to fold, unfortunately. Okay, king, queen, queen. What do we do here? Lucky guess, I guess. Probably not always a bet, this. Yeah, well. So 92% bet. With the jack, we are blocking a bit the king, queen. And yeah, we have... if he raises us, this has to be a fold for sure. Let's say he calls. It's probably a mix. No, sorry. No, I mean... No, I wanted to know if we should keep on betting. 4. Yes. Raise. What the fuck? This looks... Raise, and we are raising with the 9 of hearts because we absolutely don't want our opponent to have 5, 7, 9 with the 9 of hearts and having to call. A 3-bet on the flop. Okay, Jack 4, 3. Yeah, I think we are calling here. These leads look pretty strong. Ace Jack 3. This should be a check 100% of the time, almost. We can c-bet very often, so we are going to c-bet that one. So we are c-betting 80% of the time. So this is really a no-brainer with this particular hand. Now, if he raises, this is this is weird, to say the least, because he cannot have well, he can have some aces, like ace, 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 3 kind of hand. Raise. Okay. Well, I guess this is our bluff, right? We are going to have aces here. And if we want to raise those, then what about aces without hearts? We are potting here quite often. We're calling with aces and the king high flush. What about aces and... Okay, the 7, 6 of hearts, we're just potting here. And the aces and the queen high flush. Aces and the queen high flush, we are calling very often. Okay. I think we're going to check call probably. Yeah, our hand is strongish. 5-4 deuce, and we hold the backdoor spades, a flush draw. So strong, but I don't think that's strong enough to raise. So it's 100% call. The 5-10 queen. Um, hmm. Yeah, I think we have to bet that one. If they raised us, I think I would call because this looks like tens or queens. If he checks, I think we have to bet like 90% of the time. No, 100%, because we are not blocking a 10, a jack, or a queen. If we had something like ace king queen. Okay, with ace king queen and do not flush, now we're starting to check a bit more often. In fact, if we have the 10 jack queen and the ace king and queen 10, since we are blocking the sets, in case he has queens or 10s or something like that, we're checking sometimes. However, we are betting with the 10 jack queen ace with the ace king queen 10 when we do not hold the king of hearts, just because we want our opponent to have and to draw to the king high flush. So yeah, just checking some percentage of the time there. Okay, I think I would bet that one because we do not have showdown value. We have something going on. Okay, check. Check me. Although we have backdoor spades. Without backdoor spades, well, we're betting. No, we're actually checking here. Although with backdoor spades, we're just betting out. I guess that's one hand that you don't care if you get raised, just you're going to fold your hand right now. Okay, deuce 3-7. Well, yeah, this is a very strong hand. But you are not blocking the ace hard. Let's see, he calls. Wow, yeah. We are checking this. But we are betting the king in 7-7. That's very subtle though. We are checking because we want our opponent to make a spades and then we raise river. Okay, pretty sophisticated. Yeah, I mean, okay, let's give us a flash on the turn. Yeah, I guess we can bet because we're blocking the straight. Our hand is not very strong at the moment, so although this is kind of mixed strategy. And because we have the 7th and the 8 of hearts, we are blocking a bit the racing range of our opponent, I guess. Okay, 7, 8. Yeah, I think this is a bet. We're betting really. 7, 8. Yeah, okay. We're betting why. What if he raises? But let's say he calls. What on earth do we do here? I think we have to bet like 50% of the time. Oh no, sorry. Oh fuck me. No, I wanted this guy to check, and then we have to take a decision whether to check or bet. Well, for sure we're talking high flush that even if he leads, I think we're going to call with that hand. Okay, well, I think we have to check here with almost all our range, or with all our range. If he bets, what do we do here? I think that I would. Okay, we're calling. Okay, this has to be a check because we are afraid of the ace king, right? In call, I mean, the ace king is out there for sure. Okay, 3, 3, 4. Yeah, we want to bet because we do not have hearts, so we are not blocking our opponent. We're not raising all that often. Probably with a 3 we are also calling very often. So yeah, if we are calling with our 3s, with a 3, then we probably want to call quite often with the 4s. Okay. Well, our hand is. What do we do here? Yeah. Okay, I want to see if he bluffs the turn here without a heart. Let's say he checks. Well, now I think you want to check because you have showdown value. What if he bets? What do we do? Well, I think we have to call, right? Four, 5, 9. I think we can bet this 50% of the time. Yeah, the point is that we're going to check back this board very often, so you cannot always. Well, apparently we're betting almost 100% with this particular combo. Okay, so we are betting very often with this combo. However, we are check raising with the ace 5-5-7, or maybe even check calling, just because we are blocking so much our opponent. What if he raises? Well, let's say he calls. Do we ever lead here? No, I would say that we check almost 100% of the time. In fact, 100% of the time. If he bets, we are calling, but we are starting to fold sometimes. And in reality here, if our opponent bets a full pot, then I would just fold here. Okay, 4-6-4. I think we want to bet because we have a flush draw, but we do not have showdown value. We're blocking a little bit the 5-7, the kind of hands which they could check raise against us. So, but no, we are checking back. Okay, we're checking back. Well, yeah, we do not have showdown value, but the turn is going to change things in the river as well. So maybe it's not that important if we do not have showdown value at the moment, just because the hand is going to call. I mean, the nuts are going to change a lot on the turn and the river. Here, yeah, this is a bit different because we do not have showdown value at the moment, but this is a pair board, so and it's somehow disconnected. So we have a flush draw, but we do not have showdown value, and on turn and the river, things are not going to change that dramatically as with the previous board. So I would say that we have to c-bet that one. Yeah, and we're c-betting this 100% of the time. I'm checking back a bit more often with weaker flush draws. So if this same hand was something like, well, and also we are c-betting this quite frequently. If this hand was something like ace, king 10, now we are starting to check back a lot more often. Even with the not flush draw. Okay, that's weird. I would think that we have to bet that one, but no, apparently. Apparently we want to check back really often. And if we had like ace, king 10, or let's see, says, I don't know, 4-7. But now we are betting. Aces for 7 we are betting, but aces king 10 we're checking back. Well, maybe we are not afraid if our opponent makes a flush or something like that. Or maybe we are blocking our opponent from having kings. This is queen 4. Yeah, maybe we're betting because we're, well, with this ace for 8 we're blocking our opponent from having sixes, I guess. Okay. Let's see if he checks back. Well. Yeah. Here, what? Okay, let's say he checks. With the backdoor spades, I think we can bet here. Let's say he calls. Opponent, let's say he checks again. what should we do here? I think we should bet like 50% of the time. Did they say 50? No, apparently it's more like 88%. The real reason is, do we call if he raises? Fold. So this is pretty nuts. Okay, so apparently yeah, we call 20% of the time. Which actually I remember the Nanded saying that you should call with your bad flashes on the river like 20% of the time. So yeah, maybe on this occasion there is also 6-4. Okay. Yeah, I think we have to go. Now, the ace and the king are out there. I think if our opponent bets, I think we have between folding and calling, but we're starting to fold some here, and probably we are folding a lot on the river, I would say. What is interesting is if we have the ace of hearts, we are not always going to raise. And now, which hands are more likely to call? I think that's something like the ace king. Or I don't know, something ace king jack. Let's say we had ace king jack. Okay, let's say we had ace and just two. So with ace and just two, we are raising like like 60% of the time. Okay. With the ace king, we think that our opponent may have the jack high flush. Okay. Let me think about this. Yeah, okay. So when we have like ace 10 and we are not blocking a king, a jack, or a queen, we are potting very, very often. However, when we start blocking the full house outs, well, actually, ace 10 is. It's not a race, apparently. But when we only have the ace of hearts, I think we want to pull every single time. No, actually that's not true. But 50% of the time. We are calling with the ace king king. So raising 70% of the time. Let's generate another. I want to make the nut flash here. Bad. Yeah. Let's say he calls. I think, let's say he checks. Now I think we have to bet this like 70% of the time. No, just 60% of the time. Just because our opponent is quite weak on this spot. He doesn't have the king high flush. He could have queen or jack, but if he has something like 5-6, we want him to call, or maybe he flaps the river. So you do not have to bet all the time when you make your flush. And since we're betting here 60%, with the ace jack 8-4 with one heart, we're not always betting. We're betting just like 50% of the time as well. Similar that when we have the nuts. So yeah, just keep this in mind. You do not have to bet your nut flush always. Okay, 9, 10, king. I think we want to call because we do not hold hearts. So okay, the 6-7 queen. We're going to check this because without hearts. However, if we have the ace of hearts here, So with the ace of hearts, we're betting like 70% of the time. We are so apparently, yeah, we're starting to bet a lot without showdown value. And what do we do with two hearts? I would say that we probably want to bet like 50% of the time, 60% of the time. No, like in general, yeah, like 56% of the time. So yeah, you do not have to be always betting when you make your flash here. Let's say he bets. How often do we raise here? Well, with this particular combo, it's obviously a fold. But if we had the ace of hearts blocker, I think we are going to raise almost always. No? We are folding, actually. Because we're almost never raising. Well, 9, 10, 9, 5, 4, 5. Well, there are three combinations, but with the ace, yeah, okay, there are three combinations which crashes us actually, and that's why you're actually going to just call with the nut flash here. Yeah, okay, yeah, makes sense, because also you're going to check back middle flashes there, and middle flashes sometimes makes a straight flash. Okay, king jack 9. We are not blocking. Well, yeah, we have to check back. I would say this. Okay, 3, 6, 7. Okay, if we have the nut flash here, we probably want to bet like 50% of the time. With this combo, probably a check. With the nut flash, so we are, yeah, just betting 30%. So with the nut flash, we are going to bet like, yeah, 60% of the time. And with the nut flash blocker, we are also going to bet some of the time. In particular, we're always going to bet when without showdown value, right? Ace queen 10 8, ace queen 8 9. But when we have a bit of showdown value, like ace king queen jack, then we're starting to mix it a bit more. I'm probably going for the check raise. Okay, let's say. So here, what do we do? I think we can. Yeah, just folding. Okay, I thought that we could. Okay, we could call. I would I would pot it sometimes here, so apparently I'm wrong potting using the king high blocker. In reality though, I think this player is going to see bet with a nut flush draw every single time, so or very often. Okay, let's see. Well, here we're going to call a lot, so I don't think we can go bananas raising with the nut flush. So as you can see, with the nut flush, we are raising 60-70% of the time, and with the nut flush draw, we are raising some and folding. We do not want to call all that often, although we would call. Apparently we are calling with some hands that have a bit of showdown value, like ace king jack 8, and probably check raising river, I would say. If he bets into us on the river. So yeah, just raising some, folding some, and calling sometimes. Yeah, what else? So yeah, raising 60% of the time. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, A9, Jack, King. Check, check. Here, I think we have a heart, but this is just too low. Bet. Seriously, we're betting this. Betting this, but checking that one. Well, that's pretty hard to grasp what the difference may be. Or maybe this is just that the simulation was not all that accurate. But yeah, overall, you're betting sometimes, but mostly checking with those kind of hands. With the 6 of hearts or 5 of hearts or 4 of hearts. So, but you can once in a while bluff here. Well, not that interesting spot here. What else here? We have the A9 queen. I think we want to check back this. No, we are betting. Why are we betting? But it's pretty mixed though, I mean. Okay, let's say we bet. Call. I think here it's a bit different because we have no, yeah, we are out of position. I think we have to check back. And let's say he bets. We are calling for sure. I don't think we're going to raise that one. Ah, fuck, I wanted to see a turn here. Can we see a turn? Let's say we call. Yeah, we cannot see a turn apparently. Queen A9. Let's. Hmm. No, I think we want to check back. Uh, but we have very small leading range here. Ah, fuck. I wanted him to go. Okay. Hmm. Let's say he calls. So on this spot, I think that we want to bet with our queens like 50% of the time. Let's say he checks. I think we want to bet our nut flush like 70% of the time, and with our queens like 50% of the time. Okay, I'm a bit off with the percentages, but believe it or not, we are going to bet this particular hand like 47% of the time. Yeah, so that's interesting. So we are betting more often when we have the 7 of hearts. And in reality, though, our opponents tend to bet when they make the nut flush. So if you are betting queens there, more often than that, I think you are not mistaken. Okay, let's say we bet. Okay, let's say that we bet and he calls. Yeah, that's the spot that I wanted to see. I think that here we are going to bet I think we are going to check very, very often. Like maybe 80% of the time. Yeah, this may seem counterintuitive, but we want to check a lot because we have a lot of like set of kings, queens, jacks. We have also ace 10. We have weaker flashes. So we do not hold that many nut flashes here. So if you want to be balanced, you have to check this a lot. And apparently with the nut flash, we are betting just 20% of the time. With the nut flash blocker, we are betting 40% of the time. So we are checking a lot here, and just check raising probably makes sense there. Yeah, so let's say he bets here. I think how often are we going to raise here? 50% of the time. Call. So yeah, we are calling, and we are calling with this particular hand, we are calling 80% of the time. And overall, we are raising like 60% of the time. I wonder why are we calling here? We are calling here, although we are not blocking kings, a queen, or a jack. We're potting with ace 10, 10, 7. I don't know. Yeah, small difference. I'm not sure which hands decide to raise or not. But yeah, the point remains that we are only raising like 60% of our hands. And if we had something like ace king, let's say we had ace king queen with hearts, ace king queen. Now, as you can see, we are calling almost always, because, well, with this particular combo, no, yeah, because we are bluffing here. But ace king queen 5 we are calling because we are blocking our opponent from having kings, and he probably wouldn't call with jacks anyway on the flop. Well, our opponent could have kings or queens for sure, but there are only 2 combos of those, and even if he has those, he has 2 queen outs. Let's say he has kings and you're holding another king. So he would have 2 queens as out, 3 jacks, 3 deuces, like 8 outs only, like 16% of the time he's going to make his, well, maybe a bit more than that, like 80% of the time or something. But the point remains that you can call this a lot, way more often. In fact, it's 100% call. If we had something like ace queen jack, with 2 hearts, you are calling as well 100%. So just keep this in mind. When you are blocking the set outs, the full house outs, you have to call way more often. And let's say ace queen. Yeah, for sure ace queen, queen 3, but ace queen 8, 5, just blocking 1 out, you're also calling a lot. So yeah, when you check call, you can actually have a bit more flashes there, I would say. Here this has to be a check. 8-6 deuce. Wrong bet because, yeah, we have a gut shot, and backdoor spades, and blocking the king apparently is a bet. Without the king of hearts, I would say it's just a check, like this one or that one. So you need kind of three pieces: blocking the hearts, backdoor, spades, and let's say we bet, and he calls. Okay, now we have a decision to make. So we said that we are representing that we have to check like 80% of our range here when we make the nut flash. With the king, I think we're going to bet maybe 20% of the time here. Let's see. Yeah, like we're betting 30% of the time. So yeah, we cannot go bananas here. If we had the, I don't know, something with an ace, with the ace of hearts. Like this one. And yeah, it's Jack 10-7. We have the straight, so we do not need to bluff. Probably, maybe we want to check raise some. But with something as big as ace queen 10 deuce, we want to bet fairly often. However, when we have the nuts, we're going to bet maybe 30% of the time. Let me check. 45% of the time. 80% of the time. Why are we betting so often here? Yeah, apparently we're betting this board very often, more often than most boards. Yeah, well, no, let me think. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess that we have a lot of nut flashes on that spot, more than if we just call on the big blind, for example, to a bet or something like that. Okay. We're blocking a bit as we're checking because we only have 3 hearts. Well, I guess the 4 is not really blocking our opponent's range, so we are kind of blocking our own outs, not blocking the continuation range of our opponent. Here, king 10-3, we are going to bet for sure. Let's say he calls. Yeah. Here. Let's say he checks. If he bets, I think we're going to call with our ace king. Now, how often do we want to bet here? Most people bet 100% of the time. However, I believe, particularly because you have the king of hearts, that you maybe 50% of the time, 60, yeah, 62% of the time. And if we had, I don't know, let's say ace, jack 10 7, ace jack, yeah, just in general, you can bet here 70% of the time. You are not supposed to bet always with your nut flush. Particularly on this spot, he's not going to have kings. Let's go raise. Well, yeah, man. He may have like a set or something, a flush and a set maybe. Okay, here. I think we want to bet. Okay. Let's say he calls. What do we do here? I think that, well, before we were betting like 75% of our hands, so I guess we can bet maybe 60% of the times we make the ace, yeah, like 76% of the time. Yeah, I want to play with the pre-flop aggressor in position now. Yeah, here on that spot. Let's say he calls. Now, how often should we bet with the nut flush? Here we're out of position. It was the same as cutoff versus button. However, because the cutoff is opening pretty tight, he's going to have a lot of nut flushes. So you can bet a bit more often. But here, since you are calling on the big blind, of course they're going to have a lot of, they're going to have some nut flushes. But you need to check back a lot because you're going to have like set of sevens, threes, deuces, weak flush draws. So well, yeah, with this hand you're going to check, but the thing is that well, yeah, we're obviously folding. Now, if he checks, how often do we want to bet here? I think we maybe 80 or 90% of the time. Just 50% of the time. This looks so well with our hand a bit more often, just because we're not blocking a king or a jack, but with a king 8-5 kind of hand, when we're blocking, yeah, we are checking back quite often here. Ace king 9-3, for example, if we had ace king 6. Checking always is king 6. We are blocking just too much. Ace king 8-6. Yeah. Well, overall we're betting like 60% of the time. Yeah. Okay. Ace jack 7. Let's say we check call. Raise. Well, it's pretty mixed, but sometimes mixing a raise there. Let's say he calls. Now I think we want to check very often, like 70% of the time. I bet, fuck me. Well, although this is a bit different because there is not that much money to be played, I guess. Yeah, it's a bit low. If we had the ace, if we had hearts, I think we can bet out maybe like 50% of the time. %, 67% of the time, so a bit more often. Yeah, here I want to make do not flash here. Okay, let's see. I think we can bet here. Yeah, our hand is quite strong. If we had the king high flush, we probably would bet 70% of the time also. Like 65% of the time. Okay. Let's say we make our flush here. But yeah, I want to see like check bet. Mm, I want to see the turn. Let me see. Yeah, I want to see a bet call. Ah, okay, yeah. Yeah, that's what I want to see here. No. Okay, now we have to take a decision here. Yeah, let's say we call. Ah, fuck! I want to see the turn. Ah, okay. How do I see the turn though? Oh, okay, now we cannot see turns. Let me see, 10, 7, 5. We check, he bets, we call. Okay. Yeah. No, under the gun versus big blind. Check, he bets here and we call. Fuck, we check. Okay. So well, I'm not sure if the 3 is the best. Okay, here we're checking 100% of our range. Well, this cannot be. Okay, let's say we call, and the flop is a deuce. How? So apparently we want to check always. We have a very small leading range here. Why is that? Well, because probably the ace high flush. Yeah, I think it's because the ace high flush has some gut shots there, and you would probably check raise those on the flop. Let's say we check, and then he bets, and then we call. Now, yeah, now I think we are going to have a small leading range, just 3%. Well, that's pretty crazy. So with the ace, we're only betting 12% of the hands. So check, bet, call, then say the jack of hearts. Wow, our leading range is very small. Let's say something even more connected. Ace 7-6. You are not going to check raise nearly as often here with donut flush draw. Wow, this looks pretty crazy. So we are always checking here. So here we probably bet, I don't know, 50% of the time. We do not flush, just 37% of the time. So he bets and we call. and the board is the 10 of hearts. Okay, check, bet, call, 3. Yeah, apparently we're apparently we do not have a set. So yeah, apparently we are checking almost always. Okay guys, have fun, see you later.